Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Halfback Dynasty. My name is Brendan. We are joined today with our co-host Tyler. Tyler, how the heck you feeling, my man?
Brendan, feeling great, man. Been playing a lot of golf. Been watching a lot of the Euro. Keeping up on some football. Both footballs, I guess you could say. I'm feeling great, man. How about you? I'm another year older. Turned, 37 2 days ago? Just don't look a day over, 25?
25, bro. Yeah, listen, isn't that crazy? You know, one thing I've learned is every day is my birthday. So that's how you got to live life. Wait, when is your birthday?
June 14th.
So no Schmidt. It was 2 days ago?
Yeah, man. It was Monday?
What? I didn't know that, dude.
Because I'm not on social media, man.
Yeah, you're an off the grid rebel, dude. I respect it. I respect it. Well, happy birthday, man. I guess I was almost gonna send you my Justin Fields jersey, but I was like, I don't know if I like anybody in this world that much, man. Oh, dude. So the big 3-7, huh? The big 3-7.
Big 3-7, man. Brought it in with played some golf in the morning with my dad and my brother.
Nice.
Came home, worked out. My wife and mom tag team a really nice meal with some good dessert. My wife tore it up with the fajitas.
Oh, that's what's up.
It was great, man. It was an awesome night.
Decent, dude. So do you feel one more year wiser in fantasy football or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I once used the quote about hockey that I've forgot more about hockey than most people will ever know. And I mean, you could make the argument about dynasty football in the same sense. So, I mean, it's hard to say what more you can learn besides how many bad trades I've made. You think I'd stop making them, but I keep trying to make them this offseason.
You know what, dude? It's a love-hate relationship, and nothing like putting in a whole year worth of work to get bounced first round of the playoffs. So
years in a row.
Expectations are high, but the expectations are also incredibly low at this time because there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain. The good news is that's why the offseason is so much fun, because you don't feel the effects of negative trades until about 3-4 more months when the season actually starts. So Tyler, there really hasn't been much news in the NFL, trade-wise or free agent-wise, obviously, because all the big-name free agents have been signed. But we're hearing a lot from the beat writers about everybody being the next greatest player of all time. So before we jump into some random names that we probably never heard of before the beat writers, the beat reporters, let's talk about the one big deal, Julio Jones. Obviously, that's a pretty big size deal for any team who's contending to get the Hall of Fame receiver. The Falcons traded Julio Jones to the Tennessee Titans. In return, they received a 2022 second-round pick and a 2023 fourth-round pick. We were discussing pre-show that second is most likely going to be on the later half because the Titans are definitely going to contend this year. How do you feel about that trade?
I mean, I'm going to look at it from strictly a dynasty standpoint. I know a lot of the Julio owners were probably disappointed, but I actually don't think it's a bad place for him to land at all. I mean, he slots right into what Corey Davis did. I believe Corey Davis had 988 yards and 6 TDs. I mean, at Julio's age, that's good WR2 numbers. I mean, with Jones' skill set, he could possibly do better than that. So I actually thought that was a fantastic place for him to land. He was going to get moved. So I honestly can't think of a better place that he could have gone as far as from a role standpoint. Tannehill's a good quarterback. He's got A.J. Brown, who's going to be double covered. Maybe this opens up Julio more for arguably the first time in his career. And then on the other side, I mean, how many more targets does Calvin Ridley get a game? You know, from a dynasty perspective, I think Ridley, I mean, he was already, a top 5 last year. It's hard to go up value-wise from there in the offseason, but I think Ridley sees a nice bump here.
Sure, sure. And you know what's crazy is Ridley was putting up some big numbers even while Julio was out last year for a lot of those weeks. So it's not like a Juju Smith-Schuster situation where can he be the number one without Antonio Brown there? Calvin Ridley is the real deal. I think he has a great chance to finish top 5, no doubt about it. I actually do like Julio Jones to the Titans as well. NFL-wise, obviously, it's great to get a superstar receiver, get those jersey sales up a little bit more. But secondly, that offense is going to be even more potent. So Derrick Henry's game just got a little bit bigger. A.J. Brown, like you stated, is probably going to put up beast numbers regardless. I mean, that guy's a stud. Honestly, there's an argument that A.J. Brown could be the wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, in my opinion. So a lot of people have Justin Jefferson up there at number 1. How can you not have A.J. Brown at number 1 ahead of Justin Jefferson? I mean, come on. The point being, I think everything is going to be really potent out there in Tennessee. And honestly, I would still be more than willing to give up a second-round pick on a contending team for Julio. I don't know if that's an overpay or not at this point, but I'd do it, man.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Brendan, is if you're a contending team, throw out your second right now. I know a lot of people, I mean, we talk about it all the time. The age factor, Jones is, I mean, it's just not worth much. He should be. He's still an elite wide receiver, but he's not because of his age. He stayed healthy for a while, but his injuries caught up again last year. At times, Jones has had injury problems. So I think that scares people. But yeah, I mean, if you need a flex or just a straight depth piece as a contender, could you ask for something better than Julio Jones for the price? I don't think so.
Absolutely. And you know what? I mean, even if he misses a few weeks of the year, still you're paying a second-round pick for most likely a flex player who, when he does play, there's a great chance that he puts up wide receiver 2, maybe wide receiver 1 numbers. So I'm all for it, man. Definitely like that trade, and I would go after him too. I think it's still a buy low opportunity for some good points week to week. So that's fantastic. That's basically the only big trade that happened. I saw a couple random signings recently, and obviously all the rookies signing their contracts, which is really exciting. But Tyler, I have a really funny story for you, actually. So I've been going out a lot with some representatives that have been flying out here to Chicago to our family's business. And we go on the river walk almost every night because we just have so many people flying in. And we honestly get drunk. We just take a bunch of shots and whatnot. So it's a really good time. But it was so funny. I was wearing my Justin Fields jersey one night. We were walking the river walk. And I kid you not, dude, this family came up to me while my brother, myself, and my dad were out with one of our reps from Washington, who's a big Washington football team fan. It's hilarious because, he's been devastated. Although last year they made the playoffs, whatever it was. The point being, I was wearing my Justin Fields jersey, and this family came up to me and literally thought I was Justin Fields, bro. Literally thought I was Justin Fields. And the funniest part was I told them I was Justin Fields because I was like, dude, you don't get this opportunity very often to tell somebody that, you're the new rising quarterback of the city's franchise. So they were taking photos with me and just asking me questions about my journey. And I'm sitting there drunk with like a beer, like an IPA in my hand. And it was so funny. My brother, my dad, and our rep were just cracking up watching the whole thing happen. And then eventually the mom looked up a photo of Justin Fields and was like, wait a minute, you're not Justin Fields. And I was like, no, Schmidt, I'm not Justin Fields. Why would Justin Fields be on the Riverwalk out at night wearing his own jersey when he's got to get ready for the season? It was so funny, man. I couldn't stop laughing.
That's pretty unreal. There's a few differences between you and Justin Fields that should be
only a couple.
Yeah, besides, I guess they don't know who Justin Fields is. That's pretty incredible.
Hilarious.
Justin Fields is out wearing his own jersey, man. That's a good look.
It's a raw jersey. So I ordered it literally the day after the draft, and now the prices are super high. No one can get them. I've only seen one other person with it in Chicago. And so when I wear that, I feel like a celebrity in town, man. Really feels good, and I really hope he hits because the last time a jersey was purchased in my family, it was Mitch Trubisky. My brother purchased a Mitch Trubisky jersey when he got drafted, and now he should probably burn that.
I think your brother, to follow up his Mitch Trubisky jersey buy, you can tell him tomorrow at work. I think he should buy the Andy Dalton shirt.
The Andy
Just to
Dalton.
really drive that one home.
He will be the only person in Chicago wearing an Andy Dalton jersey.
I don't
Guaranteed.
even know if they make them. I really don't. They don't even let you customize that jersey.
All right, I'm sorry for getting sidetracked, but I
That's
figured you would
brutal,
enjoy the
man.
story. It was hilarious. So I wear the jersey at least once a week because it just feels good, man. It's a cool jersey, and I'm happy I'm honored to wear it per se.
Absolutely, man. Justin Fields is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. So on other news, actually, Matt Nagy just came out saying that Andy Dalton is actually their week 1 starter, and I've been on Facebook a lot, which honestly I only go on Facebook when I love reading just horrible comments and just people who get their news from Facebook. Absolutely atrocious. Everybody in the comments section under the Bears profile page is like, you need to start Justin Fields week 1. Why wouldn't you start him? Like, he's way better. And like, I just think about commenting so many times, even though I never comment, I just read it. Like saying Matt Nagy has a point. You don't just throw your rookie out there in the first game. What if the offensive line doesn't click and he gets absolutely demolished and then he gets injured? You let Andy Dalton start for a couple weeks, and then if he's good, you keep him in. Honestly, there's no rush on it. But if he really starts playing bad, then that's when you throw Fields in, maybe like weeks 4 to 6 moving forward. I don't know, man. How do you see that QB situation playing out?
I mean, I think by the end of the year, Fields is definitely the guy. I mean, out of the gate, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, there's red flags with Fields coming in. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't necessarily like a Lawrence that it's just like, oh, he's the day 1 starter guaranteed. Not to say that he won't be the guy as the year goes on, but I don't see any point to rush him out there. I mean, quarterbacks are somewhat like goalies in the NHL that, you can crush that confidence so early on and they're never the same player, so.
Agreed.
I don't see the point to start him out of the gate, but I guess if he, even preseason, if he blows up, I mean, are you playing 3rd, 4th string defenders? Are you in that half where they play the starters? I mean,
are you in the 2 series?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's
that plays
a lot to play out, but I don't see any reason to rush him. I mean,
sure, and I think that's a very similar situation to Trey Lance. I don't think he'll come out right away. Zach Wilson probably will. I don't see why he wouldn't. But my point being, especially in a super flex league, like when you draft these quarterbacks, assuming Lawrence, Fields, Lance, Wilson all went like top 7 in your rookie drafts, don't be afraid to sit on them. People have these expectations. Like I was lucky enough to draft Fields in our league and then in a super flex league. My expectation is he probably won't start until mid-year. So I think that's something where you don't rush greatness, and I wouldn't be worried if they don't see the field right away.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. And I mean, going back to Zach Wilson, we're going to do a fun exercise that my brother asked me, Brendan, and you kind of named a couple other guys that aren't going to be starters. And so who's the other quarterback for the Bears?
Andy Dalton.
Who's the other quarterback on San Francisco?
Jimmy G.
Who are the other quarterbacks on the Jets?
Couldn't tell you. Maybe Flacco. Is Flacco out there?
I don't think so. There you go. I think it's oh my God, it's a guy from like Penn State, or it's like Kyle Morgan, something.
Morgan, yeah, exactly. So that's exactly it. The fact that, I feel like I probably know every other quarterback, every other backup in the league except the Jets. That kind of proves Zach Wilson's going to go out there and hopefully kill it.
Yeah, he's going to play. So, I mean, my brother asked me that one night. It was like, I have no idea who their quarterback is.
You know what, man? And guess what? They don't need a backup quarterback if they got the rookie gunslinger out of BYU just throwing the ball deep to Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. So
for sure, man.
That's it.
Got Morgan Smith or Smith Morgan, whatever.
Yeah. Maybe I'll look that guy up and get his jersey.
I'd rank right up there with the Trubisky shirt. I might buy your brother the worst jersey imaginable and send
Yeah,
him out. I might get him. Man, I'm trying to think. Brett Rippin, something
Brett
like that.
Rippin. Dude, low key, a Johnny Manziel jersey would be so fire from when he was on the Browns.
Oh, I'd get him the CFL one if he got
the,
it.
the CFL. That's awesome,
Or
man.
arena wherever he plays.
Yeah, the fan controlled football. So, okay, well, let me ask you this. So, I've been doing a lot of mock drafts and reading about a lot of ADP stuff. So, in terms of QB rankings, Justin Fields and Trey Lance are probably about like 13, 14. Zach Wilson's probably close to 20. Lawrence is probably honestly top 10 right now.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you see these guys in terms of their ADP after this season? Who jumps up significantly? Who doesn't? Is it too early to call? What happens?
I think they all do, honestly, man. I mean, it's interesting you just talked about ADP on guys that haven't even played outside of Lawrence and maybe aren't going to play out of the gate. It more speaks to the quarterbacks are so close outside of the elite tier, and none of them are that great or exciting. If you're in a startup, are you going to take Lance or Derek Carr? You're probably going to take Lance, even though Carr's the safer piece. I think they all go up whether they play well or not, because who's behind them? There's a lot of aging quarterbacks right now in the NFL.
The changing of the guard, man.
Yeah, you're kind of coming into that changing of the guard. I mean, Mahomes is untouchable. Then you got like Herbert, Dak,
Allen,
Murray, Jackson, like that kind of tier. And then after that, you might as well shoot for the biggest upside and, the youngest piece, because it really, it's not that it's ugly, but it's not exciting at all outside of those two tiers. So I think they all go up, and I mean, I can only speak for our league, but I mean, I've watched an interesting trend for a 1 QB league the last 2-3 years in our league, that, man, the second year QB value just goes through the roof, because they are exciting. They're super young. They're huge upside, so I think they all go up. I really do.
Sure, I'd like to see that. And as always, if you're in a super flex league, the quarterbacks are never cheaper than drafting them. So that's typically why it's recommended to go quarterback, no matter what. So while we're on this rookie note, how about the running backs? Where do you view Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Javonte Williams? There's some reports that Melvin Gordon has been skipping OTAs and minicamp, and there's some predictions that Javonte Williams could actually be the starter of your Super Bowl caliber Denver Broncos this year.
Yeah, I mean, once Rodgers gets here, I don't think it matters who plays outside of Jerry Jeudy. But I think, honestly, I think all of them will rise in the rankings. I was going to say, sometimes it's better if, from a dynasty perspective, value-wise, if like your quarterback or a top tier RB doesn't play that much in year one, because then that following off season, it's like, oh, Javonte Williams 100% will be the guy, and his value goes through the roof, because you see it all the time. If Lance or Fields doesn't play much, but look at Mahomes. Everybody knew he was going to be the starter that next year, and his value went through the roof before he even touched the field, because he played week 17 against Denver and tore him up, So as far as those guys go, I still don't like where Najee Harris landed. I think the workload's there. What he does with that, I don't know. Their line's terrible. Javonte Williams has kind of gone through the roof already in value. A lot of writers think he'll be the best running back of this class. And ATN, man, I really don't like what they're doing with him at OTAs. I know it's early. I know it's.
Aren't they lining him up as a receiver?
He's straight playing wide receiver. He's not even getting carries. He's a wide receiver. I mean, maybe you're working on his hands, but personally, for his value, I had a chance to maybe trade for him in our league, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want any part of that. I don't know what Urban Meyer's doing. I think he's going to get carries in the season, but if they're going to line him up as a wide, I don't want any part of that personally.
Sure. Yeah, they're getting ready for the Wildcat offense, the
That's just weird,
classic
man.
college offense.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
And I don't
joking.
know if he's blowing smoke this early.
Bro,
That he's going
they
to be a
all
wideout.
are.
Yeah,
They're all blowing smoke. That's why all this stuff
I
is
don't
just
understand
it's
that.
complete crap. That's why if you haven't had your rookie draft yet, don't listen to the beat reporters. There's no point in doing it. Watch the tape, watch the film, make your own decisions based on talent and situation. So yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I'm seeing videos right now that Justin Herbert looks unbelievable. Obviously, I'm getting mixed reviews about Tua. His first day of mini camp, not really playing well, or he is playing well. It's a crapshoot right now. That's why you
It is.
can't trust any of this. Jarvis Landry and Baker Mayfield both came out saying that Odell Beckham Jr. looks the best he's ever been. Like, it's just a load of just crap, man. I don't buy any of this. So I don't know. Just be careful. Just be careful what you read, where you get your info from. And honestly, don't make trades based off these beat reporters. It's a terrible idea. You're going to get hosed. So that's all I got to say, Tyler. I don't know if you agree with that type of strategy.
I'm going to give you a name a few years back that got crazy hype in OTAs, camp, preseason, Pharaoh Cooper.
Pharaoh Cooper. There you go,
And
man.
if Odell Beckham looks good, I wouldn't believe any of it.
I would trade him for a second if you can.
Yeah, I'm not an Odell Beckham fan. I think
So
good years are well behind him.
for sure, for sure. He honestly needs to leave the Browns too. He doesn't realize he's going to be a secondary piece right now. The Browns offense is too potent. They have too many options. He's not going to be the wide receiver one on a team, but it's too difficult when you have two very capable running backs. You have a decent tight end. You have obviously Jarvis Landry, who's pretty decent. And I don't know. He just needs to get out of there and find, I don't know, find a contending team. Go get a ring if you can. Otherwise, his legacy is going to be a one-handed catch 10 years ago, and he hasn't done anything since. So, Tyler, I have some trades I made actually in this DLF league. Every time I get an offer, I think about offering something. I shoot you a text. So you've probably seen these already, but I want to get your overall opinion about kind of the status of my team. So this is a super flex league. It's a start one quarterback, two running backs, three receivers, three flex, and one super flex spot. You're very familiar with the league. So basically, depth is key. Depth is key. Studs are key. It's a tight end premium league. So first, my roster was Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, Leonard Fournette, Myles Gaskin. Who else did I have? DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Travis Kelce. It was a pretty raw team. I made a series of trades to get younger, and I'm worried I hurt my production this year, but let me know your overall thoughts. I'll go trade by trade. So first, I traded a 2023 first-round pick and Odell Beckham Jr. for Tua Tagovailoa. What are your thoughts on that?
I could kind of see it both ways. I mean, it's funny you bring that up. I've been very outspoken on forums. I don't even think Beckham's a good asset in any sense of the word. I personally wouldn't even trade a second rounder for Beckham.
Wow.
I literally would not. I think Tua is very risky long term, but I can also see it from the side that if he hits, that package isn't even going to come close in Superflex to even remotely getting in the league to get him. So I don't mind that trade. And even if he hits the first half of this year and you want to flip him, you'll flip him for more than that. So I can see it both ways. I think it's a good cash out on Beckham. And again,
it could be a good cash out on Tua if Tua's a one and done type of guy this upcoming year.
Yeah, but if he hits, there's no way you can trade a first and a WR4 for a starting quarterback in Superflex.
Sure.
So I like it. it's a gamble, but I like it. But the first is a gamble. I mean, I
Yeah.
was actually going to comment when you were talking about trading a second for Julio Jones. I don't know if everybody listening, if your league literally keeps track of your drafts, I would highly recommend it. We keep track of our rookie drafts on Google Docs, and everybody in our league has all of our rookie drafts on record.
Mhm.
Go back through and look at your second round draft pick, your full second round year to year. Most of those picks are out of the league or completely irrelevant.
Mhm.
I think second rounders are highly valuable, which I don't disagree with. But like I said, go look back 3 years ago. Most of those guys aren't in the NFL, or they're just absolutely not good.
They didn't hit. They didn't
Yep.
hit. That's the thing is,
Yep.
as the picks get later in the draft, the hit percentage, it drastically decreases. So I agree. I think a second round pick is a pretty valuable throw-in asset
It
because
is. Yeah.
one, you get the owner who's accepting the deal a little bit more excited because they get another prospect, and it's a valuable trade piece, which usually it's more valuable in trades than who you actually draft with that pick, if that makes sense. So,
It absolutely does. And yeah, my point was just that first is also a gamble. I know people don't look at it that it is. It's this golden piece. It's
mhm,
the best. It's going to be this immaculate player. That's not true.
agreed. Especially if it's late too, which you have to always
Yeah,
consider, and the
for
strength
sure.
of the draft class. So
Even if it's early,
unless
there's
it's
no
like
guarantee.
101, like if it's like a top three pick, you're usually okay as long as you're not reaching big time. Otherwise, you're right. It becomes a gamble. Like Kyle Pitts at 104. Yikes, dude. I don't know about that one.
The Kyle Pitts stuff, man, is I literally can't. I'm not even sure if Saquon Barkley was. It's out of control, man. I mean, I've made some jokes on the forum, but also depending how badly an owner wants Kyle Pitts right now, I honestly think you could trade Kyle Pitts for literally almost anything in Dynasty, and that is absurd. I know you chimed in on the topic as well, but that one where it was 3 firsts and a second for Pitts, and people were saying don't make the trade.
Bro,
It's like,
why wouldn't you? You're getting
but
a first round pick for the next 3 years for a tight
yeah.
end who has never stepped on the field. That's, dude, 3 first round picks for almost any player is
Oh
like
yeah, there's
pretty
people
decent
that would
haul.
trade McCaffrey for that, but not Kyle Pitt. The Kyle Pitts stuff. I mean, I'm beyond excited. I don't own him anywhere. I don't want to
I
own
don't
him at any
either. I don't
price,
own
but
him.
I'm beyond excited to see what happens with him, because if he hits, all these guys are going to look just like geniuses. It's just I have
Yeah.
never ever seen an asset in Dynasty coming out of a rookie draft
Hmm.
carrying this type of value. My advice to anybody out there, if you have a league that is crazy high on Pitts, trade him. Just go trade him now for a haul, because when the hype dies down, Kyle Pitts' value can't get any higher than it is right now. I don't care if he is the WR1, being a tight end. His value can't get higher than it is right
I
now.
agree. Even
I
if he
don't
puts
care
up
what he does.
Kelsey numbers, I don't think his
Doesn't
value can get
matter.
any
Yeah.
higher. Dude, if you're
Doesn't matter.
declining 3 first round picks for a tight end that hasn't played it down, what more could you freaking want? Like, seriously. And you know
It's
what? A big part of
unreal.
me, this is how it's going to go down. He's either going to hit and be unbelievable, or he's just going to be, it's going to take 3 years to translate, and then he'll be decent. But I hope he hits, because then
I do too.
you and I will look like complete assholes on the Dynasty League forum site, because I've gotten aggressive expressing my views, saying, what are you guys doing? Like, this is so stupid. Stick to your roots here in Dynasty. Go look at all the tight ends that have been drafted the past like 10 years. The tight ends that hit, the top 3 tight ends were all the 30th, 40th ranked guys in their draft class. Don't do it. So I just wanted to throw in some hate, not on Kyle Pitts, but on the decisions
Nothing to do with
around
it.
Kyle Pitts is what I'm hating on.
Yeah, and I'm with you, man. I've stayed a little more neutral than you. I've always kind of said, if he's your guy, whatever, go get your guy. Because I'm very much a person that if it's your guy, go get him, because you're never gonna get him if he hits. But
Mhm.
I'm just in, like, not even, I don't know if infatuated is the right word. I just, all the Pitt stuff is just it's mesmerizing, because I've never seen anything like it. It's just incredible to watch the the trades that come across, the value that comes across. And
Mhm.
I mean, somebody took him recently in the second round of a startup. I mean,
What are you doing?
it's just but it's just everybody does their own thing, and
Hey,
that's what
well,
kind of
well,
makes
Tyler, at
dynasty
least
fun,
they got their
you know?
guy.
Hey man, I told you what I traded for the rights of Judy, and I'm never going to say that on the air because it is
Yeah.
ugly. So
You
I
know, it's because
mean,
you're not
I
wearing
get
your
it.
duty shirt every day. That's why he's not hitting, bro. Come on.
I get it. So I'm no one to talk. I just think it's fascinating.
Absolutely. So cool. Well, before, I wanted to actually talk about some completed trades. But before that, I've got a couple more. Before talking about some completed trades on the forum that we've seen, I want to finish the trades I made. So I traded for Tua because actually moments before I traded away Tom Brady and Travis Kelce to get Saquon Barkley, which I thought it was a really good deal. And I got DJ Chark in return. I got Saquon and Chark for Brady and Kelce in a pretty big tight end premium and a super flex league. So I'm giving up value there, but it's too easy to accept that in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're trading a couple aging assets. I mean, Kelsey seems to be avoiding that huge drop off with a player that's 30 or approaching 30 just because of how crazy good he is. And I can see in tight end premium, I actually think that deal's pretty close. I mean, Brady in theory is old. I mean, he might play another 15 years. Who knows? He might play longer than Tua at
He
this
was like the
point.
quarterback 8 this past season in
Yeah, I
this
mean,
league
he's
format.
incredible. Whoops, he's incredible, but he also doesn't carry that much value just based on age. And
Yeah.
I think it's a good trade both ways. Barkley, you'll never be able to get him this cheap again. He's coming off an injured season. If he gets back to a top 5 RB, that trade's not happening next year. So I can see it both ways again. I mean, you've made a couple trades that I could see both ways, but I don't have a problem with that trade based on age. I mean, it's tough to move Kelsey, but
Mm-hmm.
if the bottom falls out of Kelsey,
Mm-hmm.
his value will
You
tank.
cashed
So
out. You cashed
yeah,
out.
he cashed
So
out.
so then it was even crazier is then I traded this one. I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. I traded Derrick Henry and I got Antonio Gibson in a second round pick, which turned into Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I don't trust Detroit running backs, but Swift looks like he could be good.
So you got Swift or Gibson?
Or Gibson, I'm sorry. Gibson. And I actually got Swift in another trade. I traded Barkley to get Swift and Jalen Waddle. So basically, I traded Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley for Swift, Gibson, Waddle, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I gave up a boatload of points this season in hopes that these guys take the reins. So I don't know, dude. I don't know how I'm feeling about it. It seemed cool at the time because I'm getting younger, but
I remember you and I went back and forth via text on both of those deals, actually, now that you mention it. Henry is so hard for me to gauge because I do view Henry as he's going to be that RB that's just it's just done when it's done. I don't think you're ever going to see it coming. I think he's going to go from an absolute stud like he is now, maybe still is, maybe is throughout the year. But I think when it's over for Henry, it's going to be over. I see like a Maurice Jones-Drew or a Le'Veon Bell type drop. I mean, I know Le'Veon Bell.
it's more
No
mental
offense.
stuff, though. But I agree.
Yeah, it's mental. He held out, but kind of that where it's like, God, this dude's incredible, and then it's just like, wow, he can't even play in the NFL. I mean, Maurice Jones-Drew led the league in rushing, held out that following offseason, missed training camp, and was awful the rest of his career. So I think it's going to be a drop like that. So, I mean, if Gibson continues trending up, I have no problem with that trade whatsoever. I would have liked to have seen that be a first, but nobody's doing that, man. Henry's 27 years old and has 8 billion miles on his legs. Like, nobody's
2
doing
trillion touches, 8 billion
yeah, nobody's
miles.
doing that. I have no problem with that trade. I think on paper, yeah, it doesn't look good, but when you
Yeah,
break it
risky.
down, like I said, man, Henry's going to be 28 at the end, halfway through this year. Nobody's trading much for Derrick Henry come midpoint to next offseason. So I have no problem cashing out.
And Waddle could hit. Waddle could hit being the guy in Miami. So I know that's your boy. But, I mean, it just –
risk.
Yeah, when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, and like I won this league last year, you know, I just traded 2 basically top 5 running backs for this year for 2 kind of like top 15 running backs, like basically prospects, if you will. So I don't know, man. I also got Miles Sanders, who's young and could hit, but I'm pretty excited.
The Barkley trade's a little iffy for me. I think I told you I wouldn't make that trade, and then you're like, I just made it.
Yeah, you know? Screw it.
Whatever, man. You live with the trades you make. If they're terrible, they're terrible. You're not getting the guys back. I like Waddle a lot. He makes me nervous just more because of his skill set of being heavy speed, a little bit undersized. Swift, I want to think is just going to explode, but it's Detroit. I know they have a new staff.
That's the scary part. They have a new head coach, though. So they have a new head coach. You never know. Here's the funny thing. So I got Chark in that Barkley deal, and then I got Waddle in that Swift deal. Oh, wait. No. I got Chark. Yeah, I got – what happened? Regardless, I can't remember what happened, but I got Chark in a deal, and then I also got Waddle in a separate deal for whatever running backs I made, or I picked them both up. And then I actually traded DJ Chark, Myles Gaskin, and Jalen Waddle. So they're not even on my team anymore. They were on my team for about a week. I traded. So Chark, Gaskin, and Waddle for Fant, Pittman, Gabriel Davis, and then Javonte Williams. So keep in mind, it was a tight end premium league. I just sold the #1 tight end out there, and now I got Fant back. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? Chark, Gaskin, Waddle, or Fant, Pittman, Davis, and Williams?
I think
a lot to digest.
I think value-wise, you came out ahead there. There's a lot of risk on both sides. Yeah, I mean, I think you come out a little bit ahead there. I think, again, there's a ton of risk on both sides. And the other thing I was going to say about the Barkley deal, I know it's not a popular opinion. I know he got hurt last year. The year before that, he had injury issues and then played well for, 3 games. It's not like Barkley's been this steady as it goes, amazing running back since
who he is supposed to be.
Yeah, since his rookie year. So there's a part of me I would love to get a share of Barkley. Don't get me wrong, but Barkley's got a ton of risk at this point too. We really don't know who Saquon Barkley is. I mean, the year after his rookie year, he was not good, but his stats by the end of the year were decent because I think he went, pending your league format, he went like 30, 30, 40 in his last 3 weeks. So his points just shot up, you know, but
he
had a lot of rough games that year and he was hurt.
Here's the thing. He's one injury away from his career. Like one more major injury, he's probably not going to be able to bounce back for that. And then, you know, his entire legacy is going to be he had a dope rookie campaign and then he was just injured the rest of his career.
And I hope he's not. I mean, I really like Barkley from what you see on the
He's a good guy too. He's a good sport. Yeah. Good sport. Yeah. So you hate to see it, but we'll see what happens, man. I feel comfortable. Like I don't have any issues trading away Henry and Barkley because of the fact that this is a dynasty league. But, you know, obviously I take the hit now in terms of points, but it could be looking really good in the next couple of years. So Tyler, I appreciate your feedback. Let's touch back at the end of the season and see what happens. See if my trades were worth it. See where the rankings are. But real quick, man, I wanted to hop on DLF, DynastyLeagueFootball.com, and I wanted to get your opinions on a lot of trades that went down in the completed trade thread. So I'm just going to name off both sides, what the trade was, and then you pick the side, okay?
Sounds good. I got one for you that just before it leaves my head that I saw today that was an absolute beauty for this one guy. He traded see, I already forgot. It'll come back to, I think it'll come back to me. It was a running back and Julio Jones. Oh, it was Josh Jacobs and Julio Jones straight up for Taylor.
Oh, bro, come on.
That's just a great deal for that guy, you know? Phenomenal
trade.
Dude,
I wouldn't even take 2 Josh Jacobs and 2 Julio Jones.
Yeah, it was like, holy cow, man. Yeah.
Wow, dude, great deal. Great deal. Obviously, that guy is still a Jacobs believer, but Jacobs is already getting into his 3rd, 4th season, and they got Kenyon Drake there. So
yeah, great deal, though.
Cool, man. Cool. I've been trying to get JT everywhere and nobody's budging, dude. I had to give up my entire roster. So whatever. It's cool. I'll still
Tough
enjoy
off
watching.
season. Tough off season to buy. Probably not worth it.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. So here we go. All right. So I'll try to give you the league format, the layout, and then you pick the side. All right.
You got it, man.
12-team Superflex. Team A gives Kyler Murray, Najee Harris, Henry Ruggs. Team B gives J.K. Dobbins, Claypool, Dylan, Darnold, Zach Wilson. Holy smokes, there's a lot of pieces here. So which side would you prefer? Getting Kyler Murray, Najee Harris, and Henry Ruggs, or getting Dobbins, Claypool, A.J. Dillon, Darnold, Zach Wilson?
Easily Murray's side for me in Superflex. I think A.J. Dillon is crazy overvalued. They just paid Aaron Jones a ton of money. Like, I know Dillon's going to get work, much like Jamal Williams did, but personally, I think Aaron Jones gets more work now because they just paid him a ton of money. That deal's not particularly close for me. I mean, Kyler Murray and Superflex is probably worth 4 first-round picks alone in some leagues. So, yeah, Murray plus for me.
So you think Kyler Murray beats out Darnold and Zach Wilson, that package, immensely? Like, that's not even close?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Wilson, who knows what he is, and Darnold, fair or not, Darnold sucks. You know, until we see otherwise, Darnold, this could be his last year as a starter.
I think it is. I don't see him coming back. I'm all for a journeyman. That seems like Sam Darnold's going to be a journeyman type of guy, but I don't see him being anything special in Carolina. So, okay.
The only thing I can say on that, Brendan, it doesn't change the deal for me at all because the other 2 quarterbacks have huge risks. Kyler Murray, when he was banged up with his ankle last year, if his rushing dries up a little bit, he's not even near the same player.
Yeah, well, because he gets 2 touchdowns on the ground a game. Guy's a beast.
Exactly. But no, I don't think that deal is. I think there's a lot of fluff on the other side. I'm not even sure what Chase Claypool is. Let's be honest. You know,
yeah.
So
I see him ranked as like top 20, top 25 receiver.
Sure.
I don't know. That seems high. Doesn't that seem high to you, Chase Claypool?
It does to me, but he has huge upside. I mean, his 4 TD games really carrying, I think, a lot of weight.
That was crazy.
But I think there's a lot of fluff on the other side. I mean, Najee Harris, although he hasn't played, has huge value, which maybe somewhat equals Dobbins, and there's no way Murray, the rest of that makes up Murray, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, I would take the Murray side too, but also I'm a huge Najee Harris fan, as you're aware. So cool. All right. This one, there's no league format or settings laid out. Basically, give the 108, the 301, a 2022 first, which is projected to be late. Get Ezekiel Elliott. Which side?
If contending, I'd easily take Zeke. I think the 1.8 is outside of the elite range. It sounds to me like that's got to be a 1 QB, you would think.
It's a 1 QB league. Actually, I see it 16-team PPR. So getting a nice running back locked up in that format is pretty valuable.
Yeah, I mean, that's outside of the elite tier. That's outside of Smith and Waddle, who kind of, is in that kind of back end elite tier for a lot of people. I personally think Zeke bounces back and is elite this year. Moving forward, it's hard to say, but if you're all in, I'd take Zeke easily.
Absolutely. I think Zeke has a chance to kind of retain some of his normalness, return to normalcy with Dak back. So he still could have a year or 2. He's been healthy. He's got a great contract. Cowboys should be good. I think Zeke.
He averaged 20 a game with Dak, which I think is easily forgotten at this point. 20 points.
He's a buy low, dude. He's for sure a buy low. He's ranked like 13th running back on the board right now. That's a really good price. Okay. Wow, another pretty big deal. 12-team half-point PPR Superflex. Would you rather have J.K. Dobbins and Mike Evans or Saquon Barkley?
Man, that's kind of tough. I would lean Barkley. I'm not a huge Evans fan, as you and I have talked about. I think his I think Chris Godwin healthy next year eats more and more into Evans. I mean, Godwin was hurt essentially all year, even though he played through it. And Evans was incredibly TD dependent.
Mhm.
Whether that continues, I don't know. Um, but again, I don't think that deal's on the board next year if Barkley comes back as Barkley. So
Mhm.
I would make that deal now and gamble on Barkley.
Sure.
I think
Absolutely.
Evans is replaceable in your lineup week to week.
I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he's getting there though. I mean, he still will put up, dude. There's no
Oh, he
reason
puts
not
up
to
huge games.
believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason not to believe he'll hit 1,000 yards again. He's
Oh
done it
yeah.
every year. So
Yeah.
I get your point. It seems like Mike Evans is trending down slowly, and Godwin, when he's healthy, he's a beast, and he fits Tom Brady's scheme a little bit more. So
And like to stack on that, Brendan, some of that is straight value. Nobody values Evans on the trade market in almost any league. So the other part of that is the value side I think you're gaining. I mean, Evans isn't valued where he should be. He's kind of like a Adam Thielen when Thielen was balling. Nobody valued him. Nobody
he's top
cared.
10 receiver like for the
Yeah.
entire
So,
year.
Evans just doesn't carry any weight on the trade market. He really doesn't.
Absolutely. Dude, I remember like 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, I tried to give Dalvin Cook and I think Allen Robinson for Le'Veon Bell and Adam Thielen. Maybe it was like 3 years ago. But I offered Dalvin Cook and Allen Robinson for Thielen and Bell, and thank goodness he declined it at the time, dude.
That'd be ugly
Holy
now.
cow, that would have been so bad. So it just goes to show how quickly things can change. All right, I got
Like
one last one
Le'Veon
for you.
Bell is legitimately droppable at this point.
He is, dude. I picked him up in multiple leagues where he was
Yeah,
dropped.
he's
Why not?
droppable. Absolutely.
So, okay, the last one I got for you, 12-team PPR Superflex. Would you rather have Eckler, Cup, Wentz, Mac Jones, or Gibson, Godwin, Zach Wilson, Darnold? So Eckler, Cup, Wentz, Jones. There's a lot of players being recycled recently in all these trades on this forum. Holy cow. So Eckler, Cup, Wentz, Mac Jones, or Gibson, Godwin, Wilson, Darnold.
I mean, for me, that one's a little unfair and really easy. I'm extremely high on Godwin, and I don't like Eckler at all. I would sell my shares of Eckler if I owned any immediately.
Mhm.
I know a lot of people are super high on him, so I could see that both ways, but I think Eckler had a perfect storm with Phillip Rivers, who can't throw the ball.
Mhm.
I don't think he's the same. I mean, I know he was hurt a fair amount last year, so it's hard to say, but I would take the Godwin side pretty easily.
Sure. Okay, and actually, I have one more question for you. What would you take in return for Deshaun Watson at this point in time?
In a 1 QB or a super flex?
Let's do one QB. I mean, you don't have to give out any secrets. I know you got him in our league, but realistically, what would you take? Actually, scratch that. Let's do super flex, where that's a way greater risk. Is if you're going to make the move for Watson, what would you take in return for Watson in a super flex league?
I flat wouldn't trade Watson in a super flex league. I don't think it's worth it. I think you good, bad, or indifferent have to hold.
Okay. Okay. Dude, oh my gosh. In this DLF league, I saw a guy, he traded Deshaun Watson and he got Alvin Kamara and Allen Robinson in return. I was like, bro, that's a haul right now for Deshaun Watson. That's a haul.
It is, but I think 2 years from now, that deal looks really bad.
Assuming Watson comes back, which I think it's still a silver case. Who knows what the heck's going on? I'm sure it will settle though in the next couple of years. But talk about a haul. If you're contending and you have a good quarterback group, you just picked up a top 5 running back and a top 10 wide receiver. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, man. If you're not concerned, I know there's players. I mean, a little bit. You're one of those guys that doesn't care as much about long term, which is a very fair way to go. If you are all in on this year and don't care what happens next year, yes, that's a great deal for Deshaun Watson. Absolutely. Because I think he misses 10 games to all year this year.
Mhm.
but I don't in any way, shape, and form think his career is over.
He's too good. He's too
He's
good
too
to
yeah.
not find a
I mean,
team.
they're starting to talk about deals coming up. Like teams are even going to trade for Watson this offseason, like they're willing to take this on for him. So, yeah, if you're all in, that's a haul, and I get it. But in Superflex, I flat wouldn't trade Watson. In our league, I would need.
This is a 1 QB league.
Yep. I would need a decent, not like super, super elite or anything. I would need a decent quarterback that I think has longevity and like a solid piece.
Like Fields, like Fields in let's say DJ Moore, which I know you're a fan of DJ Moore. I am too. Like Fields and DJ Moore.
That trade I don't think I could walk away from. No. Because
Okay,
I mean my
that's fair.
biggest thing, I mean, I know you and I made a huge deal. I traded Kamara, which doesn't look great now, probably didn't look that great at the time. My biggest deal with trading for Watson is I wanted two quarterbacks that I flat didn't have to worry about for years and years and years. I'm
Mhm.
tired of chasing a backup quarterback because, as you know, in our league, quarterbacks are crazy expensive.
Yeah, I was expecting to get Trevor
So-
Lawrence at the 110, and clearly that didn't happen. He got taken like the 107, 108.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So that was my goal there, was to lock up two elite quarterbacks and just flat not have to worry about it, which obviously kind of backfired and maybe backfired big time. But I would need a safe long-term QB option. Like I wouldn't trade for Tua with moving Watson, somebody like
Sure.
that it's like, oh, in 2 years I'm going to be in the exact same spot.
Mhm.
So
Makes sense. That's fair. That's a fair ask. So clearly,
Yeah.
the price of Deshaun Watson will fluctuate immensely this next year or two. So if you feel that you're at the low, at the dump, don't trade. If you feel like you're at the pump, then see what's out there.
And I
But
can
Tyler,
see
that's
getting off too, man. Like if you're morally not, I mean, morals and ethics and fantasy are always a very, very gray line.
you don't want a team full of convicts, man.
Yeah, I 100% get it, because there was a piece of me that when all that broke, it's like I'm gonna straight just dump him. I don't even care what I get. Because I mean that story is just disgusting. But
It's bad.
taking all that
If
out.
true, it's bad.
Yeah, if you want to dump him, I don't fault you at all for that either. I mean, there's been a couple pretty nasty stories that have come out, like the Ray Rice. I dropped Ray Rice.
Darius guys.
Obviously, I dropped Darius guys.
That elevator video of Ray Rice hitting that woman was so bad.
And obviously,
That
Rice
was
never
bad.
came back, so it doesn't look like, oh man.
Dude, Ray Rice was like my favorite running back at that time too. Like he was a freaking beast. I had him in like every redraft league because I wasn't playing Dynasty at the time.
Yeah.
And then that happened. I was like, bro, come on.
Oh, that video made you sick, man. That
was bad.
I mean, not only did he hit her, he physically drug her. I mean, it was just awful, So I can understand from that side with Watson. If you want off, dump him. Get what you can get.
Exactly. That makes sense. But otherwise it's safer to hold and just see what happens. He's far too good of a quarterback with his talent. He'll find a home somewhere. So
Absolutely.
Tyler, man, time flew by right there. I gotta tell you, it feels good to be back. If there's anything else you want to say real quick before we sign off, man, you got the floor.
I think it's got to be the most polarizing story of the offseason, including all the Deshaun Watson nonsense, all the Aaron Rodgers. We keep going back to Kyle Pitts, man. I want to leave it. Hey, if you drafted Kyle Pitts, at least put him on the block. Doesn't mean you have to trade him. Let's see what comes in.
That's you'll get an overpay.
Yeah, I'm almost sure I saw a deal that involved Pitts and Tyreek Hill, and it wasn't that much added to either side. So put him on the block, see what happens. It doesn't matter if you trade him. You don't have to, but see what's out there, man.
I agree. And trade him. You definitely should trade him. So perfect. Tyler, really good to see you, my friend. Again, happy belated birthday. Looking young as ever. So we'll see if you got 1 year older in Dynasty with your knowledge. But take it easy, everybody. Just remember the famous words of Dynasty football. And the famous words that are currently on the trophy that I won from this league. You're in this for life. Peace out.